I got to sit down for first time, Joe, today.
Well, it is, you're due.
Was running around a lot today.
Welcome everyone to a live from the living room, and it's been a while.
It's been. When I texted Joe, I said we're going to do a live from the living room, but I couldn't recall. I got a good memory, but many people, my wife said, it's short. So I couldn't remember if we did it from here. I don't know where we did it, but we're here in Kiel at St. Peter Paul Parish Rectory.
I think the last one we did was before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a good one.
Yes.
And we're on the downward slide of, I mentioned today on my podcast, in a sense, we're in the octave now before Christmas.
Yes.
Because we just started the O antiphons today.
That's
December
right.
17th.
That's right. The octave. Sure.
Yep.
Sure. I attended Mass this morning at St. Anne, and we had a good attendance. I counted 28 or 29 people out there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a well attended at St. Anne on Thursday morning. So if you want to come to Mass, St. Anne on Thursday mornings are wonderful, and there's plenty of room for more. But it was good.
And while we're thinking about St. Anne Mass, just an announcement as we begin. Learned last night, kind of later last night, that Cletus Dickrell passed away. I know that Father Carl mentioned that at Mass today.
Yes, he did.
And so please keep the Dickrell family in your prayers, but Cletus particularly, as he transitions to the being born into eternal life at this time of preparation for the birth of Christ. So,
Yes, yeah.
And the St. Anne community. He was a big, long-time member, so that'll shake the community.
It will, and I can't help but think about the family and the loss of their loved one. This within days of Christmas, and the difficulty that can give to the family of
sure.
losing their loved one like that. So yeah, like Joe said, prayers are important for that family and the parish community, and for Cletus. Good man. He really is a good man. Yeah.
So, well, before we dive into Christmas, which is really, we're going to be talking about Christmas huge today. It's really our sole focus. What's new in your life? What do you need to share with me and the people?
I don't know what's been new. I didn't have.
You went to Menards, so garage update for all of us.
Okay, garage update. My brother actually offered to help me with finishing the ceiling insulation.
Yep.
And so that's my plan. And then I'd be trying to figure out, hopefully do that Saturday.
No, hold it. Here's the question. Can you park in the garage now?
If I move things around, absolutely.
So, okay, that says you're not parking in the garage right now.
That I need to do.
Dude, there's that white stuff on the ground out there.
That's the problem. That I don't care for. But I got where I normally park my car, I have my motorcycle there. If I put it in the garage that we just put up, then I got to move that when I move other things around in order to do the installation on that. So, which would enable me to park in the garage. And so that's going to happen this Saturday. We're going to make provisions for that. Then my son can park in that other new garage too. Zach's going to park in that one as well. It's just getting things around so that he can. And Saturday morning, I'm going to.
And the motorcycle?
That's going in there too. So on one side, he's going to park on the opposite side.
And Hildy?
Well, I made sure that she parks in the garage. I know which side my bread is buttered. And I made sure she's in the garage and safe and sound and warm. So
Smart move.
Yeah, and it's a matter of finishing up a few things, but it's this time. I'm busy a lot with the deli and here. I love this place, and so a lot going on.
And I will state that, and we'll talk more about it later. But he has been busy here, and we're going to tell you why shortly.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Well, I think, my garage is coming. I'm excited. I had to replace the garage door springs. That was it. Last Friday I talked to you.
I know that Hildy did hundreds, is that an exaggeration, of meals for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
To be given out. How did all that go?
It really went well. I think she knows how to prepare things and then get it into a little basket, a little box, and get them out there. So it went well.
Kudos to Jeff Volan.
Oh my gosh.
You want to talk about that and Badger's Den?
Badger's Den, Jeff Volan, he he took the bull by the horns, if you want to use that terminology, and we served he did, not me. They served 100 people within our Kiel community in terms of that Thanksgiving dinner.
Kiel New Holstein was.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know that. And so
I thought it was more Kiel, but perhaps some New Holstein people, because he asked names from me to get there.
Yep.
Badger's Den, kudos to them. Initially, there was a charge, and then they decided they're going to not charge the parish for that food. It's an amazing thing, and really Jeff and all his people that help deliver and prepare, take the food and put it into the little boxes and get it was a wonderful thing. To see that is just phenomenal to see.
Well, the generosity, people stepping up.
Yes, that's one thing I've told you in the past. Coming here to these three parishes, the generosity in these three parishes is so moving and so powerful to see that witness in action and that love of brother and sister to serve. So I'm deeply moved by that, and kudos to everybody out there who's watching here.
Well, and here's the best part. I mean, it was not a one-time shot. Badger's Den has come forward and said they are going to do the same thing for Christmas and Easter.
Yes.
So Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. And so if you gave something, or anybody gave something, donated it toward those meals, they took that and are using it toward Christmas now. So they're not charging anybody for a meal for Christmas who is in need. So if you are out there and know a family, you yourselves, for whatever reason, maybe you're sick with COVID, maybe you can't get out, maybe you're just experiencing a downward turn because of the economy at this time, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let this man know, call Kim or Sue or Laura, let them know. You don't have to let 100 people know, let one person know. And they will because Dennis will be our focal point for Christmas, passing it on again to, that list is confidential, but Badger's Den is creating meals for Christmas that will be delivered. Uncertain at this point, but we think Christmas Eve, is that right?
I think it's Christmas Eve, yes. And confidentiality is important to me, to Joe, and so there will be no names given out to anyone, and we just need to serve those. I visited a couple of, for instance, a couple of homebound yesterday, and not so homebound, and they were alone, and they would love that, and so I will not share those names, but they would love that meal, that generosity of saying they are not forgotten, and that's the part that's really, because when you're forgotten, you tend to lose the ability to dream, and when you lose the ability to dream, you lose the desire for life. So it's very important we do that.
Well said. Yeah. See, this is why we have him here. He takes us to new depths. Yeah, but honestly, please, if you are in need, if you know somebody in need, if it would simply be a blessing. It would simply be a blessing because you know what? You're stressed because of all the balls you're juggling at this time of year. That's appropriate. Let's praise God for the opportunity. Let's thank God for the Badger's Den and their generosity, and for people like Jeff Olin, Dennis, Kim Sue, Laura, who are willing and desirous to assist. So all you got to do is just reach out, let us know, boom. The rest will be taken care of.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. I just saw that text this morning with Jeff.
Yeah.
So that's really an awesome thing. And Easter too. So donations of food, we can put that set aside for and get it ready for the next season. So it's really an awesome thing. Yeah. So great. Excellent.
Let's talk Christmas.
Yes.
Now I'm going to go in. I want to start, and I want to tell when the times are, what we're going to do to keep people safe, and then go into the numbers we've been receiving back with the postcards.
Good.
Okay? Interrupt me if I miss anything or if I'm not saying it well. First of all, each parish of our three-linked parishes will have 3 masses. Each of them will have 2 on Christmas Eve, and each of them will have 1 on Christmas Day. So we tried to spread all these times out. So depending on what the needs of your families are, the needs of your community, needs of whatever, we've got some times for you to come and pray. So let's talk St. Anne first. St. Anne will have the earliest Mass on Christmas Eve. They'll have a 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve afternoon. They will then have a 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve afternoon. So One group's going to be going out. Hello, Kim. You want to come in here and say hello to the people?
I'm very busy.
Oh, very busy. Otherwise, she would. She loves being in front of the camera. And so St. Anne, I mean, that's going to be our closest time and turnaround.
Yes.
So let's say we finish Mass at 3:10, you know, because Christmas Mass goes a little longer. 3:10 or so. I'm sure we'll have people waiting outside. Parking lot's going to be full. People coming to the Christmas Eve, 4 o'clock at St. Anne. Be patient. Be patient. People will go out, and then new ones coming in. How are we going to keep that sanitized? What's the plan?
I talked to Donna this morning about that, and because of that immediacy of that moving quickly, I asked her to get some Lysol spray and spray everything down in the lower level for the projection room.
But we don't need to for the main.
Right, in a church, right.
In the church,
Because of
we
different
will
pews.
use different colored pews. So we're using white for the 2 o'clock, colored for the 4.
4 o'clock, yes.
And we will sanitize after the 4, the white again, because we will use those on Christmas morning.
Christmas morning, which is at 8 o'clock.
So that's how we're doing it. So exactly right, Dennis. So St. Anne, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 8 a.m. on Christmas Day. Holy Rosary.
That's a big one too. I think that's a 4 o'clock,
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
That's why we have my numbers here, and we don't just go off of I thinks.
Yes, I like that. You have your numbers right in
Oh,
front
you
of
know I do.
I didn't take. I was rushing around here. So
Yeah, he was. He was setting up the camera. So, Holy Rosary, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Eve. Little more turnaround time there because our next one is at 6 at Holy Rosary on Christmas Eve.
gives us a lot more
evening.
time.
A lot more time. That extra hour is big. And then 10 o'clock on Christmas morning.
Yes.
So 3 and 6 in the afternoon of Christmas Eve, 10 a.m. Christmas Day.
Right.
Which leaves us with?
St. Peter and Paul Parish.
You bet.
Yes. And you have your numbers at times.
that's-
I know we have a 4
Who
o'clock.
says this man can't learn? Yes, 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve afternoon. Then we go to Christmas Eve night.
Yes.
Saints Peter and Paul will have the latest Mass, 10 p.m. It's our midnight Mass at 10 p.m.
We move up from midnight to 10 o'clock. I'm glad because I'll be there and I don't want to nod off when I'm at that. No, I'm like,
That's it, when Father is preaching. Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes.
This is public, you know.
I know that. Hey, Padre.
So yeah, Peter and Paul, 4 p.m. Christmas Eve, 10 p.m. Christmas Eve, and 9:30 a.m. Christmas
Day.
So we sent out postcards. We sent out letters to every parishioner at every one of our 3 link parishes, asking them, one, will they be, as best they know, coming and praying with us over this Christmas? Yes or no? If they said no, they were done, let us know, boom. If they said yes, we asked them which location and which Mass they most likely are coming to. These were not RSVPs. If you sent one in, don't expect that you have a pew with your name on it there, not an RSVP. And that's important for us to know because there will be many who haven't sent in, and they are just as welcome as those who did. So why did we send it out? Well, we sent it out so we can see the ebbs and flows of when we think the most people are going to be coming and let you all know in case people want to change their minds and say, oh, I want to go to a Mass that doesn't have as many people. Well, here's the ones that have it, that we want to let you know this, and this is what we'll do. And also to let people know about the overflow. So we'll talk about overflow in just a moment. But here's what our numbers showed us. And if we were betting people, we could have bet this.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
I could have gone to Vegas. Dennis could have gone to Vegas beforehand. But what we're seeing is the earlier Masses on Christmas Eve are the most highly attended. And those are the ones
Sure.
we will need overflow seating for. So particularly the 2 o'clock at St. Anne, the 3 o'clock at Holy Rosary, which will be our most heavily attended,
Yes,
I think, of all of our Masses.
Absolutely.
The 4 o'clock at St. Anne, and the 4 o'clock at Peter and Paul. Those 4 masses. If those were ones you were planning to come to, I would say a couple of things. One, possibly look at one of the other masses if you want less people. Or two, know that you may well be sitting in overflow, and that's okay. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. You may be sitting in overflow, or you may be divided with your family, or may have to come early. One of those things.
Sure.
I just know we're doing the best we can. We really are. And ushers, we got to treat them well, because they're going to have a tough job on Christmas Eve at those 4 masses. The 10 p.m. Mass at Saints Peter and Paul, our midnight 10 o'clock p.m. Mass, that I don't think we're going to need overflow for that, but it may be full, just so you know that too. The other Mass on Christmas Eve, the 6 p.m., if you want to go to a Christmas Eve Mass that has room, that's the Mass.
The 6 p.m. at
Holy Rosary. Because Holy Rosary is
yeah.
our biggest parish, has the most room, biggest church, and right now those numbers are pretty low, so there's room for you there if you want to go to that Mass. So, Dennis, tell us about the overflow, because that's where Dennis and I were running around this morning. At the beginning, he said he needed to sit because he's been running around. Well, I know he has, because I've been with him, running around with him. But we did test runs at all 3 of our parishes.
Yes,
Talk
and
about that.
First off, I want to shout out to Brian Bartle
Yeah, that is true.
and Dave Scroggins. Without those two, their ability, their work ethic is beautiful. So what we do, we're taking the image in Mass, you see in the church proper, and we're going to project that at St. Anne in the lower level, as well as at Volan Hall and Kiel. We're projecting it down in there. And getting down there, the technical side for me would have been difficult. For these guys, it was simple. At Holy Rosary is projecting the Mass image in the church, and we're putting it over into the gymnasium and setting it up there.
And that took the most time.
That, yes, and in fact, Brian and I had to meet there this afternoon to resolve a technical issue. One's not talking to the other of the network, so Brian will resolve that. And it's getting the sound and the video down to each overflow. So enable us to if the church is full, then you can come into these locations, which suggests to me that I got a message from a friend of mine who said his mother and father sent the card in to go to a Mass at St. Anne. Is there going to be room there? And I told them it's not a reserved spot. So if they want to get that spot or a spot in church, it's good that they come a little bit early, and that way they can have a spot in that church. So there's nothing reserved, but the image and what you see what you see in the altar in the church proper at each 3 locations you'll see via a video image in the various overflow areas. Again, Volan Hall, Kiel, the lower level of St. Anne, and the gymnasium at Holy Rosary. And we will bring communion to you there, and there'll be ushers over there helping you direct. You'll be physically distanced in all locations, and it'll be the same as you're in a church proper, just in a different location.
And I want to give kudos, definitely to Brian, Dave Scroggins, who just did incredible work, but Dennis helped direct and guide and let them know what we needed. And so the 3 of them are our 3 wise men. I'll put those in air quotes here. Our 3 wise men, getting up here. But here's what we did this morning. We did a test for each one of them. 2 out of 3, in the words of Meatloaf. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 worked. 1 we're still in the process of working. But let me tell you, so we're using a projection unit that will project up into a screen, so it's not just going to be like a TV this size. It's going to be, a big
screen.
A big screen.
Yes, it will be.
And the sound is exquisite at each of them.
Yes.
And so it's not like you're not going to hear either. Now, I'm knocking on wood, and assuming our test runs will go that same way on Christmas Eve. But yes, what Dennis said is right. We are going to have a Eucharistic minister bring Eucharist over to you, so it's not like you're going to lose anything there. And when we set up, things will be spread out from each other. We'll set up in 2s and 3s. If you come with a family of 5 and you're in the overflow, It's okay to move the chairs together so you can be together, but we're spacing it out so everybody again is physically distant.
Yes.
That's 6 feet. We're going to do our best. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, help us. We're going to do our best, take temperatures at all the masses. The ushers are going to have a big job. We're going to have them, making sure people are physically distant within the churches, and when they feel that's full, and who knows, that could happen early. When they're full, they will direct people to the overflow spacing. Here's what I'd say. Be good to them. Be good to our ushers. Come in a good spirit. This is our God, deciding and humbling God's self to come be present with us on earth. And this, it deserves celebration. We are just so grateful. So let's come with that focus and not a question of where I'm seated or I had a reserved spot or I don't want to be in the overflow or I'm split from my family. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and I promise you we are doing the absolute best we can. But we just need you to come in good spirits and be good to our ushers too, who have a tough job.
When we started this whole back, I can't remember how many months ago we talked about this, and both our staff, actually, Joe and I talked it. How do we predict the unpredictable? How do we look at that crystal ball and say how many people are coming to Mass? And then where do we go if we get more? If we get previous years, it would be wonderful. But how do we best protect and guard against all that? So with the overflows, and like Joe said, it's just take it slowly, peacefully. Come with that spirit of Christ coming in, the incarnate Christ coming in there, and into your heart and your soul and in the Eucharist, and know that we're doing the best we can given the circumstances of what the. And there are many parishes. A friend of mine, Father Bob, in Nina, they're just doing the best they can. They have one spot over there, and hopefully it goes well. And that's all we do. And I'm sure people are adult enough and they understand that we're doing the best we can. And praise God that you're coming. That's the big part.
Amen to that. Yeah. One other thing before we move on from the Christmas masses, children. So. We're going to do children's reflections at some of our Christmas Eve masses. And I'm sure you're familiar with it, but if you're not, after communion, Deacon Dennis, Deacon Randy, Deacon Pat, myself, whoever is there assisting the priest, will invite any children who, if you're wanting your children to be a part of it, you send them on up. We're going to have a moment for it. And if you're uncomfortable with it, because, Lord knows, they're probably not going to be 6 feet apart from each other at that point. But we're going to have them all come up, and we're going to tell a little Christmas story. It'll be brief. And then we're going to send them back with a bulletin and a little gift.
Yeah.
But we're going to do that at the 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock at St. Anne. We'll do it at the 4 o'clock at Peter and Paul. And we'll do it at the 3 and the 6 at Holy Rosary. So if you've got family, kids that are coming, we've got something for them after communion. We still are going to try to do that and do our best to spread them out and things as well. And we've got a gift for you that we're going to send everybody home with after Christmas, or after the Mass itself. That'll be on your way out, but we'll just kind of keep it there.
Yes. Gifts are good as a surprise.
Well, and again, not to preach, but we know this is God's greatest gift to us.
Yes, it is.
That day. And so we want to emulate that even in whatever small way we can.
We're going to be live streaming the 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
We're live streaming the 10 o'clock here on Christmas Eve. St. Anne at 8 o'clock Christmas morning. And I believe it's the 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock at
He
Holy
still
Rosary.
doesn't have the times. Yep.
3 at Holy Rosary, 3 o'clock. The 10 p.m. and the 6 o'clock at.
So if they're going to be homebound and not able to come for a Mass, they can choose whichever one of those or all of them. So the 3 o'clock can either be watched at 3, right, Dennis?
Yes.
Or at 4, 5, 6, 7.
Anytime they want. It'll live at 3 o'clock, but it'll be on there, and they can go into that anytime and whenever wherever it moves them, whatever church you decide to watch.
So that'll be Holy Rosaries, The 10 p.m. will be Saints Peter and Paul, and that's more of the midnight mass
Yes.
feel, if that's what you like, because we'll have that there. Again, could watch that evening or the next day.
Sure.
And then we have the earliest one.
At 8 o'clock at St. Anne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll have 3 choices. They'll be on there. Thank you. That's such a good point.
Yeah, because we need to. My heart is to those who watch it on their phone or the television. But I think about the nursing home and assisted living, how much they value that opportunity. To now, I'm not sure we ever did that in the past, Joe, in terms of the Christmas liturgies, to give them that kind of opportunity, especially a midnight mass or now 10 o'clock. But that's something that they're going to find such great value in, and to draw them into that journey deeper to see that. And moreover, I think is what's important is they get to see you, us, together, their ministers, all of that. That's a community that not just held by brick and mortars. It's much bigger than that. So I think that's just to remind everybody out there.
Last couple of things after Christmas. You know, Christmas is a Thursday and a Friday, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. People are asking, will we have masses on the weekend, Friday or Saturday and Sunday? Yes, we will have all of our normal masses. So pray for Fathers Carl and John.
Oh, yes.
They're putting in their work. But that's the Feast of the Holy Family, so we will have the normal Mass times that weekend. And then there is another feast day, a solemnity at the end of the octave of Christmas. Remember, Christmas is such a big, high, holy day. We celebrate it not just for one day, we celebrate it for eight days. And the feast at the end of that 8th day is Mary, the Mother of God.
Right.
And that's celebrated, of course, January 1st. And that's a holy day of obligation for us as Catholics.
And you have a vigil mass and a morning mass.
Yeah, we do. And so the vigil mass will be at 4 p.m. at St. Anne on December 31st. So if you're going to be celebrating the New Year that night, well, you can come pray with us beforehand, 4 o'clock St. Anne. And the Mass of the day, which vigil mass is too, but it's just the Mass on the day itself, January 1st, will be at Holy Rosary at 8:30 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
The normal weekday mass time.
Yeah.
A lot going on. Joe, we got a lot going on.
So we just got to exhale.
Yeah.
And remember, again, forgive, but remember the beauty and goodness and wonder of this season is our God desiring to be one with us. In the midst of all this, if the overflow sound doesn't work of the video, if too many people come and we're crowding in, if, you know, little Johnny is screaming during Mass, Christ is still going to be born.
That's right.
Because you know what? The manger, I'm guessing, was kind of a zoo.
Exactly.
And that didn't stop Jesus from coming that evening either. And let's just make sure we use this Advent time to just get our hearts ready so that
slow down.
Christ can be born in us anew too.
And to be that light to those who we're called to be light to.
Yeah.
That's important, to share that light with one another. And I think about a story, and maybe it's unrelated, but I think it is. And in terms of how we can be a light to one another, I visited with someone on the phone, Joe, and it's somewhat related. And they talked about a funeral, and they at one time several years ago, they wanted to have something in the whole thing. And sometime several years ago, there was a strike over in Fond du Lac at one plant over there, and the family struggled to make ends meet. And someone made a statement to that person that if you don't pay your dues, you can't get communion. And so that man and family, just because of that, they didn't come to church too often after that. And my heart breaks for that, because we need to be a light to one. We could be affirm one another, love one another, and share that light with one another. And don't put roadblocks in the way. Don't put impediments in the way. That Christ came to all of us, and He's going to be there for all of us. And to give what you have been given, that beautiful gift of love, and share that with everybody. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's unrelated, but at this time that Christ is coming to us, He's given to not just me and Joel, to all of us, and share that. It's important to do that.
You know, you mentioned funeral. Forgive. We talked about Cletus at St. Anne, that he passed away. Have 2 funerals coming up, one today, one tomorrow, at each of our parishes. 2 Peter and Paul today. Please keep Jean Gilsdorf. in your prayer, and keep Mary and the Gilsdorf family in your prayer too. And tomorrow is Vern Casper at Holy Rosary, and I invite you to keep not only Vern in your prayers, keep Jan and the Casper family in your prayers. We just lift all three of those men up to God and implore God's mercy and goodness and grace, which is so big and so wonderful, on them, but on the families too at this time, that they may have peace and hope in the midst of this season.
And did you mention Jim? And I think you want to mention Jim McNally. And
Oh yeah, thank you for doing that.
and Jim McNally,
Last week.
his funeral last Saturday.
Yep.
And so Jim was loved by many people, and he enjoyed throwing volleys at me, and we had going back and forth. But when it just went so quickly with him. But keep Jim, but even more his family in your prayer
Chris,
thoughts.
yeah, and the family. He's got big shoes to fill over there.
Yeah.
Big shoes.
Absolutely.
At
Yeah.
Holy Rosary.
Yeah.
Bless you all. Have a wonderful, not only Advent season in these last 8 days, but a wonderful and merry and holy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody, and thank you. Merry Christmas, Joe.
You too, Jim.
Okay.